Hey, this is Jeff again, SimSamurai.net, just completing our pre-flight check of a Cessna 172, 180 horse. We've done all our pre-flight. We went and established that we have our airworthiness certificate and our registration, along with the Pilot's Operating Handbook, or POH, and that its weight and balance sheet is also in the aircraft. We've confirmed that the aircraft has its inspections and its flight hours and squawks are up to date with the flight club. We've removed the yoke lock. We've removed the chain now from the port wing. The starboard wing. We've inspected the starboard wing, including the flaps and starboard aileron. We've also confirmed that we do have fuel, about half tanks, and about 6 quarts of good oil. And so now we will continue to move around the airplane to finish the rest of our pre-flight inspection. I always like to work in a complete, circle, 24-hour circle around the plane. Inspect the prop, give it a good feel, check it on both sides. You want to make sure that there's no cracks or nicks. Looks good on that side. Looks good on that side. Inspect the nose cone. That looks good. And then look inside the engine. Make sure you don't see any oil leak. You want to look up into the shroud housing. Make sure you don't see any blown oil anywhere. That looks clean. Press on the belt a little bit. That looks good. The air filter looks clean. Nose rebound works. That looks good. Nose wheel looks good. Go ahead and remove the chocks. That looks good. And now we can remove the port wing chain. Now this is also very important. This is your pitot-static port. You want to check and make sure nothing has clogged that. That looks clean. Now let's inspect our pitot tube. Make sure there's nothing in there. That looks clean. Check our air vent and our stall horn. Make sure there's nothing in there. That looks clean. Check the strut. That looks clean. Our fuel vent looks good. Strut looks good. Port wheel strut looks good. Wheel pant looks good. And the port wheel looks good. And then while I'm down here, I like to get one last little check. Check under the airplane. It's always going to be greasy and a little dirty. What you're looking for is to not do that, which I always do, and make sure there's no major oil streaks or what looks like fresh oil that's been bleeding down the plane. And it doesn't. It's generally dirty, but I don't see any fresh streaks, and that's what I'm looking for. Now let's look at the inside flap here, and going from inside the wing to out. That rocker looks good. This pin looks good. That rocker looks good. And now let's check our port wing. Bolts look good. Rocker feels good. Bolts look good. That looks good. And this wing looks good. I don't see any damage or dings on the wing. That looks good. Those are removed. Empennage looks good. Want to make sure the baggage door is secured. It looks good. These are our comm antennas. They look good. The 2 V antennas on the tail are for your VORs. Those look good. And now let's move around to the horizontal stabilizer and our pitch elevator. You want to make sure that moves nicely. Don't slam it. Just do it gently. Same thing, just inspect underneath, take a look. I always check this, what I like to call the rudder's Jesus bolt right here, because if this busts, you're going to be saying, oh Jesus. So these on old Cessnas sometimes will rust out, so I always like to make sure that this little connection point right here looks good, and just to make sure that it's not overly rusted or looks like it's about to break. Those 2 little eye bolts right there, and so that is important for actuating your rudder. So those look good. And again, you just want to do the same thing on the other side. Make sure that looks good, and it does. And lastly, confirm that your tail chain has been removed, and it has. And then look at your pitch trim tab right here, which is what this little tab right here is, and it looks good. So continue to move around, check the empennage, make sure your plane's got the letters on it. It matches what's in the cockpit, so that's good. And that's about it. I think we are done with our pre-flight inspection. As before, we did this wing on the first phase of our pre-flight. And so I think that ends our pre-flight check. And then lastly, you do what's called the go or no-go for flight. You just want to give a good look around the skies, make sure that you're prepared to take a flight, see if you see any strange weather developing anywhere in the area. It looks like we've got really nice clear skies today. For a quick cross-country flight up to Hemet Ryan. Should be about 1 hour 45 minutes round trip. And next we'll get in the plane and do a little pre-flight in the plane. Thanks for watching. Jeff, SimSamurai.net.